Hey everyone, this is John Tai here again from Haps Duo. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special treat for you today. We have my friend Moon Yiu, founder and CEO of DigitSense. DigitSense is a company that's pioneering the future of AI-powered digital experiences, and we recently worked with them and their team on a really fun project called Doug, an innovative digital concept using EEG for pets. And so, Moon, welcome. Everyone say hi to Moon.
Hi everybody.
And Moon, we recently worked on a really fun project together, Doug. But before we get into that, maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do, as well as what DigitSense does.
Yeah, sure, absolutely. In short, I founded DigitSense around 5 years ago, and I was a biochemist by education, turned into an entrepreneur. So I actually started off my career with all virtual reality, augmented and extended reality. So I was working mainly between technology and media and marketing and brand. So obviously my role was basically to communicate between stakeholders who are non-technical with technical people. So basically technology enhancement. Then I went into AI and machine learning for quite a few years as well. And that was way before the Gen AI era. And back in the days, it was like car license plate recognition, it was machine learning, predictive algorithms, and so on. So yeah, that was my background. DigitSense itself is a software product studio, and we specialize in two things: user experience and artificial intelligence. By means of AI, not just using AI tools, but we actually develop Gen AI and agentic AI these days. So yeah,
Okay.
that's like a squat background I can give you guys.
Awesome. So we're super excited and happy to have you here. You had mentioned before that you had a AI and ML background. Could you maybe get into that a little bit and how you got started into AI and digital products specifically for DigitSense and the services you guys provide?
Absolutely. So funny enough, my first ever project at DigitSense was a machine learning project. So back in the days, we were doing optimization for HVAC, which is hyperventilation and air conditioning. So it was for like sustainability and construction, basically. We were working for these mechanical and civil engineers in optimizing the air temperature and water pressure and everything within like a huge building. So that was basically my passion to begin with. But unfortunately, because I started the company during COVID, so during COVID, nobody really has the money for R&D. So at that point, we kind of pivoted into more digital product, which is obviously everyone was searching for something digital to help them get online presence because, you know, this sort of pandemic never happened. So we successfully pivoted and we have been working on mainly consumer applications, web apps, mobile apps for a good while. Then obviously more deeper technology came out throughout the years, Gen AI as well. I'm a big believer of how artificial intelligence can serve us. So I know I have been working in it for years. So obviously I know the power of it. So lately, I would say in the past 2 years, ever since the boom of ChatGPT, OpenAI, and other companies, it actually facilitated us in helping a lot of our current, like existing clients, but also anyone in the industry to transform. Because I think we all know that the valuation is highly affected by that. Like it's only going to go down if you don't integrate that into your business. So obviously, we do have more and more clients who are looking for such solutions, whether or not it's empowering it with AI or they're actually building AI products. So that's how we got started. It's still a transition phase at this point. I mean, 2025, nobody still knows AI 100%,
Right.
but we're on the way.
That's awesome. Yeah, and in terms of industries and the industries where DigitSense is making the most impact, what are the clients that you serve?
Yeah, absolutely. So we're actually industry agnostic because we basically work with founders who are mainly non-technical, or even if they're technical, they probably don't know how to do product design. Like they don't know how a product should look like. So we step into every single industry from education to finance to, like I said earlier, construction, sustainability, retail, and marketing is huge as well because, you know, usually marketers would have a lot of thoughts on how to enhance experience. But when it comes down to actually shaping the technology product, they probably are clueless. So that's where we step in the most, I would say.
Yeah, awesome. So just to switch gears a little bit here, We had worked on a really fun collaborative project with you and your team called Doug, an EEG AI insights project that involves pets. And so obviously we worked on it together, but I would love for the audience to hear from your perspective what this project is about and what problems it solves, and just, just to kind of get them an intro into Doug.
Yeah, sure. Actually, I'll give a brief introduction. So Doug, as in like we actually took the name from Doug in the movie Up. So in short, right, we always reckon that we can communicate with our pets. I'm a pet owner. I have had dogs since I was born, basically. Never not have one. And having a dog actually could be a good companion, but also sometimes we don't know what they're thinking. So that's why years ago you have seen these dog communicator apps on the market, right? So, but at that point, like first of all, I don't know how legit they are, and second of all, is I was in the medical field for a bit as well because of my background, and we do recognize that. Let's say EEG itself can actually help predict neurodegenerative diseases. So that was for human, right? But why can't we use it with dogs? Just either to predict their diseases, but also to communicate with them. Not exactly like communication via the hardware and the physical product itself, but can we actually predict, are they going to destroy my entire home because they're anxious, or are they just being naughty? Right? Because there are separation anxiety, and it's like real in dogs and pets. So I guess like that's where the concept came from. And yeah, there we go, I guess.
Yeah, and it was super fun to work with you guys on it. And just so the audience understands clearly the roles, DigitSense worked on the digital application side of the product experience, and then Hatch2O worked on the physical side of the experience. And so together we created a phygital experience together. Yeah, and for the audience, the word phygital has been thrown around kind of in the tech industry recently, but basically what it means is as product design has becoming a little more murky in terms of the lines between physical and digital experience, we're kind of like merging the words. So phygital, representing the physical with the digital products you see, whether it's, with mobile apps or on-screen digital applications for a physical product. That's kind of what we're alluding to here. So Moon, do you think you could tell the audience from your perspective, what is Doug? What inspired the project? What problems does it solve? And how does it work?
Sure, absolutely. So it actually pivoted quite a few times. Sorry, I forgot to mention this, but we were actually looking for more device support, whether or not it's, physical or digital. Can we support dogs that are having any sort of disabilities, right? They could be blind, they could be deaf, and so on. So a dog cane actually, the concept of the dog crane actually came up to begin with. But at the end of the day, we were figuring like whether or not there's a bigger market that we can tap into, especially where every single pet owner would have the same pain point. So yeah, that's how we got into the EEG device. And when we first started sculpting it, so obviously your team was taking care of the entire physical product design. So the physical product itself, obviously we changed quite a few times because we were hoping that it can fit into a dog collar. But EEG obviously does have some limitations, and it's just how science works. It's how the electrodes work. It's how the data collection works. So obviously we'll need to go with a helmet, and your team was capable enough to come up with a great design. And obviously there was a prototype that you applied to the dogs as well and see if they're going to shake it off. So that's how the physical product was sculpted, obviously. And for the digital side, I would say it's rather straightforward actually, compared to the physical, because there's no ergonomics in digital. It's human being. So our user is super obvious, right? Human beings, dog owners, they probably will be away from home. That's why they're checking their phones. So obviously it comes with a mobile app, right? So the mobile app experience is supposed to tell the owner, look, your dog is having, super abnormal heart rate. And they're not performing well. They haven't been sleeping well. So obviously that's where you need to step in. For a child or for a pet, it's exactly the same thing. So the digital experience itself is more data collection and predictive algorithms. Whether or not we're doing any sort of generative AI, would be nice, but what are we generating right here as of now? It's still a question because we're not actually generating new content, new data. We're pretty much predicting what's going on, and we just need to know that. That's what we have as the concept as of now.
Got it. Got it. No, and I love that. And I don't want to discredit what you were saying. Oh, it's not as hard, but I mean, still with all that data, how did your team kind of create the user experience so that it conveyed all that data in a way where it was cohesive with, the product the physical product experience as well. Can you maybe like dig into a little bit of that?
Yeah, absolutely. So the UI itself is obviously the brand and all the aesthetics was taken into account. It's just that the data itself was actually dumbed down way further. So as a user, you can't see any raw data, obviously. And why would you need to? Because as a pet owner, you're always on the go. You probably are already, trying to fix your couch because it was destroyed and all that. So basically all you need to know is what happened. Are they anxious? Are they happy? Are they just, behaving normal? Are they having any sort of struggles? Like you need to have the warning to begin with. So that's how we translated the data. It's pretty much just layman terms that we did. But at the end of the day, the data itself actually is in the back end. So we're actually going to have a more B2B portal as well. B2B as in like for vets and dog trainers. So because they will actually know more about these data than the owners, and they understand how to read it. So data cleansing is one thing, but with all honesty, like these days, data cleansing is not as difficult as, let's say, a few years ago. It's also the progression of the hardware. So the physical product itself, as long as the collection of the data is there, we do have a trend that we can work on, and we do have a certain pool of data that we can work on to make it more accurate. So yeah, that's kind of how it works.
Cool. Awesome. And like it was super fun. I know our teams had a lot of fun with your teams as well. It was just we were doing a lot of the physical design, making it, shape and feel. But like how was that process of collaborating with us and with you guys in terms of, making the whole thing feel cohesive, right? Like obviously you talked a little bit about UI, but was there some back and forth? Could we maybe give the audience like a little bit of preview of like what that was like in terms of just making it all feel like one unit, one brand, even though it's like almost two different disciplines essentially?
Yeah, absolutely. Actually, the funny thing is the design itself didn't take too long from both sides. The longest was on the branding because we thought about the name, and then obviously where does the brand stand, like what exactly was the brand voice, positioning, then obviously mood boarding. The mood boarding actually took a bit of time back and forth because there are so many different aspects that we want to add to it. So I think essentially we wanted to make a physical product super sleek and minimalistic, like kind of like Apple products, for example. But I mean, if you put it on a pet or put it on a dog, we have to consider whether or not it lights up or if there's like an accented color, because you need it to light up in the dark, right? So it's just like dog collars. They sometimes need to light up, especially if you walk the dog in dark. So that is the first consideration. So for the digital side, because we can't design, like the Apple minimalism is only applicable on physical products. It's not applicable on digital products. I can't have a screen that is completely white and black. It's gonna be awful. Basically, we took all the accented colors and worked together with your team on fixing these accented colors to make sure that the app itself is super cute and super user friendly instead of just sleek and minimalistic. So I think that is it was a challenge at the beginning because finding those colors is a little bit tough, especially when both ends, physical and digital, are looking for different things and they use it for different applications. So at that point, that was the most time spent, I would say. And then thereon, when it comes down to the product design, then for your team, it's obviously the ergonomics. For our team, I think the biggest challenge was really how do we convey the message to someone who doesn't understand the data? And with all honesty, they don't need to. So that was the biggest spend of time, like back and forth, just changing the whole thing and making it more cute, I would say.
In terms of like the technical and design challenges, were there any moments where like you guys had to completely rethink how you were thinking about maybe like what you're focusing on data wise or certain design or development constraints when you're developing the app? Maybe give us a little bit of information on, how you guys kind of problem solved and how those problems evolved as you guys were going through it.
Sure, absolutely. I would say at the end of the day, the challenge actually arises when there is an unknown. And when we start designing and developing, there's more unknown to it. So the way that we have to approach it is that there are so many sprints that we arranged and got together and cracked the whole thing. Because at that point, when we start discovering that it's probably not consumer friendly, right? We actually had to really brainstorm and think about how do we make it consumer friendly? Is it possible, or do we need to pivot? So I think those are really the challenges. But at the end of the day, the technology is there. And I believe like a lot of people are looking for it as well. After we did our market research, it's just, I would say, how do we crack the framework of it and break it down into smaller pieces and solve it bit by bit? So I guess that's what both of our teams did, really. Just trying to translate things. I would say that's the most important part.
Yeah. And I think it was just like one of those fun projects where, like you said, we don't know what we don't know because no one has really done this yet. There is no EEG device for dogs on the consumer market, right? And so there's like we were kind of discovering as we go and applying and iterating as we discovered things. So yeah, super fun. And then on that note, I guess what is the future of Doug? I have my perspective, but I would love to hear from you. Like, what do we see next as the next steps for this project, or where does this take us in terms of just thoughts and insights?
Yeah, well, I do want to take this project as far as it can go, really. I do believe in it because, like I said, I'm a pet owner, I'm a dog owner, and having that is super helpful in our daily lives. So I guess like from a consumer standpoint, it's that, but also from a data standpoint, right? The research on dog and cats, especially like canine and feline, like all these sort of animals, they have been progressing in the past centuries. And especially because nowadays, with all honesty, a lot of people prefer to have pets than dogs, especially in like first tier cities, because raising a kid is way more expensive. So I guess like the demand is only going to go up, and we obviously want our furry friends to stay with us for as long as possible. So longevity is definitely the key to our companionship, I guess. So I would say at that point, we definitely can see how far it can go. But it also, I think the main value comes down to the research and development and this scientific side of it. So I really hope that it can go well, with honesty.
Yeah, absolutely. And we did take this concept to CES, right? To get we were explaining, and there has been some investor interest. So for any investors out there who are into BCI tech for pets, definitely reach out to us. I think this is definitely a promising venture. So yeah. Moon, this has been an incredibly fun conversation. It was so fun to have you here on our show. Hope we can do this again. Where can people follow DigitSense and keep up with Doug's progress as well as DigitSense projects?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so if you can just follow us on our website, and we're most active on LinkedIn as well. So you can actually see a lot of project updates on LinkedIn, and obviously we'll have this on YouTube as well. So do check it out. And yeah, there we go.
Awesome. And any final thoughts on AI, phygital innovation, and where things are headed before we sign off here?
Yeah. I think that's a really huge topic. Actually, I can go on for it. I would say like digital products actually changed many different aspects. So from what I can see is it's not just digital products, but any sort of product. Because nowadays with AI, things are so easily done, or relatively easier than before. Right? We can develop something way quicker than before, and we can, enhance a lot of experiences with AI. So what people really are looking for is technology changes quicker than humans. So from my perspective is that human beings are always looking for certain things: longevity, exclusivity, luxury, safety, and all those different things. So if you go to any sort of tech shows now, or even if you just take a look at the product itself, consumer behavior never really changed. And with all honesty, they only get more and more sophisticated because things got easier to be produced. So they expect things to be more advanced. So I would say it's more about the life experience. Like, how do you live alone, let's say, or live with a pet, or live with kids? How does your smart home enhance your experience? Like, can you just go home and then automate everything? Once you step in, everything just opens up itself, your curtain, and then your light gets turned on. and also like how can you make yourself comfortable and all that. So I guess for digital products, that's where it can go for sure. So I guess just a final note for everybody who's hoping to developing something AI related. So like I said earlier, right, we're doing pretty much predictive algorithms. We don't really need generative AI as of now. We can. You don't necessarily need a tag to fight a mosquito sometimes. So I do think a lot of people over-engineer and they over-analyze things. So they don't really know where the problem lies. And then they just kind of put the technology in there, shove it in there and hope that it works. But it doesn't go that way. So that's basically what we did, right? Our team. We think about the problems to begin with instead of the technology to begin with. So I think that's where things should go.
Love it. Love it. Well, there you had it, everyone. Straight from the expert from Moon. Moon, thanks so much again for joining us. And if you guys liked this conversation, please like this video, subscribe down below. And until next time, thanks for watching.
Thank you so much, guys. Thank you, John.
Thanks, Moon.